Everything we do is focused on our fiduciary responsibility. I mean, we're interested in security and rate of return. After that, we look at opportunities for economic development and helping a community or a particular area of the state. But as a fiduciary, my primary responsibility is, what's the risk, what's the return? And given a tie between two projects that are equal in risk and return, one that would be helpful to a community and would create jobs or result in economic development, well, we'll go with the one that does the latter. But number one, we've got a fund, and our obligation is to that fund. If you're a history buff like I am, it's like a dream. I mean, I can go down to our archives and I can pick up documents, and handled properly, of course, that I describe them as having been touched by patriots. David Crockett's bonus certificate, which is the equivalent of a discharge certificate at that time, where it says, having served honorably in the armed forces of the Republic of Texas until discharged by reason of death on March 6, 1836, David Crockett or his heirs or assigns are entitled to 1,280 acres of land, are the letters that Susanna Dickinson dictated. She didn't write them because she was not literate. They were signed with an X, that described men who died at the Alamo. And those letters were used by their family members to substantiate an entitlement to the land grants that they had coming for their service to the Republic. And the registro that you mentioned, leather-bound volume, handwritten in Spanish, describing each of the old 300 settlers that Stephen F. brought to Texas. And it was in Spanish, written by Anglos, who had only been here a short while. But the business of commerce was Spanish, and they learned it very quickly, proving that with an incentive you can do a lot of things, which I think that lesson is applicable in reverse to those who are resistant to learn English and become proficient in English but want to be good citizens. I think there's a lesson there. We've been doing oil and gas leases for, I guess since the early 1900s. But now we're doing other types of leases. We don't have any investment in these leases. We have no capital at risk, but we take a check when production commences, or even before that, with the rentals and bonus royalties. We're doing wind power leases. We executed 2 years ago the first in the United States lease for production of wind power on submerged lands off the coast. We did that in about 90 days. It's 8 miles off of Galveston, and wind farm. Back east, up at Martha's Vineyard around Cape Cod, they've been working on it for about 7 years. They haven't got it done yet. We have an advantage in that we can be the sole government entity you negotiate with, because we don't have the federal involvement. The federal government's not involved. We're sovereign out to 9 nautical miles. So other states have got to, work with the feds, and that's a pretty arduous process. We have geothermal leases. We've got a bid sale this April for 32,000 acres of geothermal leases. We have a utility scale solar lease on 400 acres in far west Texas in Reeves County. We've even got a kitty litter lease. There's a particular kind of clay that's good for kitty. I'll do anything to make money. I mean, I have no pride here. So we're doing that. We have a lot of focus on, we sell electricity. At one time, we were I think the 6th or 7th largest retail, we weren't retail, but the 6th or 7th largest electric provider in the state. But our electricity is the minerals that are the royalties that we take off of state lands. Instead of taking that in cash, we take that commodity, oil or gas, convert it to electricity. We hire a vendor to do that. Reliant Energy is our vendor. And then we sell that to school districts, taking the money, the royalty money dedicated to education, and then using that to make electricity, which we sell at a discount to school districts, and we make a little money. So we do a lot of things around here that pretty surprising to most folks. I have an interest in another office as long as I don't leave Texas. I have no compulsion. You reach a point in your life when you're comfortable and you don't have anything to prove, and that's where I am. I'm 62 years old. I'm a retired Marine. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. like what I'm doing. But if there was something I thought would, where I could do better than the other potential aspirant to that office, I would seriously consider it. It's not moving, and I think it's not moving because the two other big gun issues this session are concealed handgun licensees being able to carry on campus, and the other issue is to prohibit employers from prohibiting employees who have a concealed handgun license from coming to work and leaving their gun locked in their car in the parking lot. Right. So those two issues have kind of sucked up the Second Amendment energy. And so I think the open carry one is probably going to suffer just because there's too much, those two big issues are on the plate. Well, we actually have instruction here for our employees. This is not a gun-free zone. Folks that work at the land office are licensed to carry can do so, and we have classes here at the land office for the concealed handgun license. So we're not like the employers that think we're all going to die if you let somebody have a gun in the parking lot, in their car, locked up, Well, I think one of the things, and you mentioned it when you got here before we started interviewing, that the amount of misinformation that the public and, the people who really have the good heart and really have the good mind and really have the good conservative philosophy, they need to vet what they hear on the internet. I mean, I was just, as you walked in, responding to an email from somebody who was mad about something that I'm not doing. So I said, well, I might do it. You can get mad at me then if you wish, but get your facts straight. It's really hard though sometimes to get those facts straight, and particularly when the legislature's in session and we're all watching what is either happening or not happening. I really encourage folks to, if you have somebody in office that's doing something you don't like, call them, send them an email, just like that lady did a few minutes ago. Let them respond. Don't be a party to spreading bad information. Go right to the source. Find out if it's true, and that would make it all easier for all of us.